Hey, everybody. Whether you're joining me live for this or catching a replay, thank you so much for joining me again. We started a conversation on Thursday of last week surrounding the seasons of being stuck. When you feel and are stuck personally and professionally, how overwhelming that can feel. It's not a whole lot of fun. And we also discussed and started the conversation around how those moments, if we frame them properly, are actually evidence and indications that we're about ready for some breakthrough, that we're about ready to grow because we've reached maybe the edge of our skills, abilities to that moment. And we're about ready to learn something new, to break free from maybe some limiting perspectives or beliefs and move on. And even though being stuck is rarely, if ever, fun, again, it can be leveraged for our benefit and our growth. And the best example we have for that is given to us by the tree, and as the tree navigates the seasons. And then last week, just as a quick review, we talked about fall, and we discussed how it starts with fall. When we feel stuck, when we're beginning to feel stuck, when change happens that is outside of our control, and we begin to feel stuck in a rut, our progress is blocked. That's the fall season. And how it's not a time to double down our efforts around activities and strategies that we've already determined aren't working. It's actually a time to drop the hyped hustle in an effort to discover what's true, the truth around what isn't working for us, either personally or professionally or both. And that we need to recognize, acknowledge those things that are working, to seek the truth in that. And just like the tree lets its leaves die and drop off, we need to let go of those things, acknowledge them, recognize them, and let go of those things that aren't working for us. And we know that the work and the breakthrough of fall is complete when we've let go of the reality, a false reality that we're clinging to, and we allow what reality really is to sink in and to accept it. What we want to move on to now is after the work of fall is done, when we've been able to identify what isn't working, we need to move on then to the work of our winter season. And when we go back to our friend, the tree, in winter, a tree looks dormant, even lifeless on the surface, right? What we don't see happening during the winter with a tree is that below the surface, below the ground, the root system, the tree is working to expand its root system, to go out wider, to go down deeper, to find the water, the minerals, the nutrients that it needs to grow, to strengthen its core, and to prepare for the new growth of the spring season. I've actually read where they've tried bringing a tree into controlled climates to kind of keep it in that summer season or fall. I guess it'd be summer season before the fall, and they can trick it to keep growing, to not shed its leaves. But what they find out happening is the overall strength of the tree is undermined, is undercut, and the tree actually doesn't live as long. It's not as healthy. So what we find is that the winter season is very essential to a tree's long-term growth and strength and health. And just like the tree, the winter season of being stuck for us is a time for us to stop, for us to focus our attention on what's below the surface, to expand our own root systems in growing and getting stronger. I apologize. My dog heard a noise. I think somebody's here. The beauty of doing things live, right? So again, winter is that time to turn that attention inward to expanding and growing our roots. The temptation, Kramer, come here. Maybe this is the time to meet my dog. The temptation in the winter season is that after discovering what isn't working, during the fall, when we discover what isn't working, then our temptation is to frantically try anything and everything to escape that winter season, to escape the cold, to escape the dormancy, and to get moving on things again. And instead of hurriedly trying anything and everything, what we really need to do is we need to turn inward. We need to focus our attention on expanding our own roots, going deeper to strengthen ourself, our understanding around the situation, the circumstance, to look at what's not working and start asking the question, why isn't it working? We need to stop the ineffective hustle of trying anything and everything, and instead focus on clarity over that intensity. Because in the winter season, what's most important is gaining clarity around why it's not working. I'm sure many of you can think about this in your own life. When you discover you're stuck, something's not working, you may know what's not working. So you go out frantically and look for what other people are doing and just try anything that looks good, right? It's possible you could find it that way, but in most cases, what happens is we just trying everything and we're looking for such quick results to get out of where we're at that we end up wearing ourselves out and doing a lot of things that just don't fit who we are. So again, the winter season is about leaning into that clarity around, we know what's not working now because of fall. Why isn't it working? And getting to that clarity, we need to lean in. We need to lean into the circumstances. We need to lean into our feelings and continue to recognize them without judgment. Give ourselves grace to think about why we're feeling what we're feeling, why these things aren't working, to be honest with ourselves, and to get the clarity that we need. And the way we lean in is we work hard on being present, to be present in the moment, rather than, I know for me, if I'm feeling some of that heaviness, even maybe a little depressed around something, it's because I'm looking back too far and I'm shoulding all over myself. I should have. If I'm anxious, it's because I'm looking too far forward. But when I'm present, when I'm in the moment, paying attention to what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, I'm able to lean in a little bit more and figure out what's actually going on and putting in work that actually means something. So being present, paying attention to what's going on, pay attention to my actions and reactions. Why am I thinking this? Why am I feeling this? Why did I react that way? And again, doing it not from a judgmental standpoint, from a learning standpoint, to understand. And then learning to give ourselves compassion in those moments when we figure out, okay, I did that because I was really insecure, or I did that because my belief is X, but really it's Y that's going on, if I'm honest with myself. Not doing that judgmentally, but giving ourselves compassion and grace to learn from that, so that we can, again, get the clarity. We know what's not working, gain the clarity around why it's not working. And here's the thing. In the winter season, if we refuse to face the winter season, if we try to go on and ignore it instead of leaning in, we'll stay stuck in that area of life. If we don't put that work in to gain clarity around why things aren't working, we'll stay stuck and we won't move on. And it risks the chance that stuckness will start affecting other areas of life. We may be only stuck in one place, but it'll affect other areas if we stay there too long. The other danger is if we go into winter, but we stay there. And sometimes the way we stay there is when we're in this place of winter, we know what's not working, but then we just want to keep blaming someone or something else rather than owning what we can own. We'll get stuck in winter and we'll become bitter, resentful, angry. And that doesn't help us either. So again, leaning in to the moments and giving ourselves grace and space to notice, to be present, to pay attention, to ask ourselves the question, why isn't this working? Is there a belief we need to re-examine? Is there a perspective? Something like that. When we not only know in fall what's not working, but through the winter season, which can take a while, we can figure out the why things aren't working. Then that will help us grow stronger. I see Becky, you say, oh yes, blame. Blame is so easy to do, to blame someone else. But if we can take ownership, we can step in it to switch our thinking, to focus on clarity over intensity, to figure out the why, we can move forward into the wonderful clarity and direction and growth of spring. So again, just like I said before, I hope that makes sense. I hope it resonates. If there's any part that doesn't, please ask questions. If you disagree, throw rotten tomatoes. Let me know. I would love to engage in conversation around this because it's how I continue to learn as well. Okay? So thanks for joining me again, whether live or through replay of the second piece of this. And we still have spring and summer to talk about yet. So I'll come back later in the week to do the next piece of that. Thanks so much. Have a great day.